Try to make it quick and simple. It's the same old story. No agenda was posted, and it's really frustrating. And I'm speaking as a community member and representing the community. A lot of them can't be here, don't know where it's at, or are not engaged. But by me showing up here and trying to represent them, and my looking to your website, I don't get any information on what you're doing. And it's real frustrating and disappointing. The meetings haven't been put up there almost this whole year. I kind of think it's even in violation of city public meeting code. I may be wrong, I'm not a lawyer, but you're supposed to be announcing your meetings and letting the public know and letting them know what you're going to be talking about. And you're supposed to also, in a timely manner, give us a report back on what you're doing. And I feel like you're operating in a silo, and if somebody knows one of you, they can maybe come in and engage. But if you're looking to get information about you guys, you're not going to find it. And somebody in this room here didn't even come last month because they looked on the website, there was nothing mentioned, and so they didn't show up to the meeting. And you got Amy's name still on there as the, it's so outdated that it's almost pointless. And social media, websites, internet, that's how we're all connecting. And if you guys are trying to connect with the community, and then you're just talking to each other and your friends, what about all the rest of us? And so it's really disappointing, and I'm getting so discouraged, I almost feel like not participating in a way, because I'm just talking to myself. And I come down here to try to shine the light on you guys, and you need to be doing more without there, all around you. And it's really frustrating, and I don't know, Jeff knows some of this stuff, and he knows how to change those agendas and he's not helping you. You used to have even public officials come and sit at your meetings, like Amanda Fritz in her office would sit in. And it's all getting attention on the equity department, and the website's all about them, and their Facebook pages. You guys are getting left behind. And I think you need to demand you get some presence and engage with the community a little bit. I mean, instead of just talking at this table, because it's going into a void.
So, Mike, I want to say, first of all, thank you for continuing to come and voice this. I want you to know that it's not just happening here, that in every executive committee meeting, this is being brought up in particular to both our staff and to Dante. And this was brought up prior to you coming and asking about it. It's certainly been brought up in insight. So I do want you to know that it's not just you saying it, it's in the ether, and it's kind of going out. It is being brought up. Exactly what you specified, those are, I think, perspectives of the commissioners around this table hold. And so it's not going nowhere. I just want you to know that. And we will continue to bring it up as much as we, as volunteers who do not have the keys to that website, can do. And so please know that we hear you, we hear you, we hear you, and we are continuing to push that message. That it's not just from us, that it is from others. And I appreciate you coming and continuing to mention it, because then that means it shows up in the minutes. Even though the minutes aren't on public, but the meeting that they are entered into minutes. So I want you to know that they are at least there, and for the folks who do show up, that we hear you, and I appreciate you coming to continue to say that.
And for clarification on the meeting notes that said about the word bigotry, when I was reading that, it's kind of like, if my voice isn't heard, if I'm just speaking to where my opinion doesn't matter, the community doesn't matter, and it's just based on some higher power deciding that nothing goes on the website, or there won't be no information sharing. I mean, that's the kind of point why I brought that word up, because I was reading it on the card, and being included, inclusionary, and all those great words. But when you're silenced and when there's just void, somebody has to do something. I know you guys are volunteers, and I'm not saying it's Kenya's problem at all, really. It's higher up, or somewhere needs to get the ball going the correct way. Because I think public meeting laws, you're supposed to be doing. So.
I agree with you, Mike. Thank you for coming.
Okay. But otherwise, you're all personally, I like what you're doing.
We appreciate that as well. Serve and share and do some work in those two groups. And so, yes. And so I think what we'll do before we decide that we're not going to have a third priority, because we know we have two existing priorities, is to ask you guys to bring up if you think there's going to be a budget, or do a little bit more work and come back in August if you if you feel that that's going to be there, and then in August, we can make that final determination. We have time to have conversations, so it doesn't mean that once we walk into this door, nothing else happens. But that we can really come to a deeper understanding of whether or not we need a third priority, and or if we're just gonna move forward past August meeting with these two priorities, and then also be able to voice it to the community. I think this voicing to the community will hopefully have at that place and time ability to share what our work looks like within those priority lenses. And so our administration of justice, hopefully we can talk about what that looks like and what we're moving forward within those. And so do we feel good about that? Do we feel good about coming back in August?
I think coming back in August makes sense, but one of the things I think is important, a couple of times you've thrown out like bring a budget, but I mean,
If a budget's needed.
We're starting a fiscal year right now, and I didn't come on until spring, so I sort of missed out on whatever budget discussions we had. I think right now we need to know is what is the budget that has been approved for HRC, because I think some of the things that Mike was raising earlier add to that sense of like, well, I've never seen a budget for what HRC is. We know that there is in the OEHR, there is like a lot budget for HRC, but we've never seen it, it's never been presented to us, so we don't really know at this point what we can do or what we can't do. We know we have a lot of these things that we want to do the roundtable, we have the awards dinner and other projects, but
That's for me in budgets.
we don't, I mean, we haven't seen, so I guess I'd like to make a formal request that at the next meeting, we be presented by staff with the budget. What is our budget for the fiscal year that's beginning today?
And thank you for that. I'll share with you, just because I know that you were a little bit newer, the budget and the issues around budget have been one of those tension points here at HRC. And so the hope around the design of prioritization and things like that was to help make that much easier, not only from our perspective, but from a staff and an OEHR perspective, so that the presentation of budget is something that also, prioritization also means dollars and resources in which to do that work. And so that would align directly with that. But without the three priorities really set up, whatever line item we have, there's not a direct connection to anything yet. So I don't know if I'll be able to bring you that in August. Hopefully I can.
But
And if not,
it's been approved, it's like it should be starting today, the new budget starts today.
yes.
So-
What I'm saying is that there is a block of money that's there for HRC
Okay.
within OEHR.
That's
What I'm
what-
talking about, a lined up budget that.
She's saying she doesn't even know that though.
Yeah, no, I hear her,
But would we
because
have to know what the,
I
What was
also,
approved then?
so what's
Yeah,
been
what-
approved, how
what
much,
the-
how much have we got?
right.
I
So,
think the way that was that, based on what you all asked for, that's what you get. Not.
so
to
this
get
is a
this,
major,
you get
this is a major issue before. This is a major issue when I was new, and it's still an issue. And one of the reasons for doing this work that we're doing and trying to get down to it is so that this will no longer be an issue for us. At least if I can no longer be an issue so that we can wrap ourselves around a priority, we can set a budget item to that and make sure that it's presented, and then we can work from that.
So,
So we can know
so
what-
let me clarify, this is Marcia, our budget right now is zero, okay? Because we don't know what work we're doing and how much it's gonna cost. So what we have to do is say, here's the work we're going to do, and here's how much we think it's gonna cost. Okay? So so nobody has come forward to say, here's the work I wanna do and here's how much it's gonna cost. We know there might be a roundtable, and if it's gonna cost $5,000, and that's the only thing we're gonna spend money on, then our budget will be $5,000. So that's how budget is being formed right now. Yeah, so that, am I correct in making that statement, Shabri and or Ken?
But money was allocated to HRC.
So Marcia, I guess I would share with you, it's not that there's,
In the past, we would get a budget allocated like $30,000 or $50,000. Currently, it's different. It's what we ask for. So if we ask to do a roundtable, it's gonna cost $5,000, then we're only gonna get $5,000. That's how it is today.
so anyways, there's, why didn't you hear your question, I'm sorry.
That was it, it was just what y'all, exactly what y'all explained, that's the process for budgeting right now, is
Then yes.
we have to understand what our work is, how much it's gonna cost, and then that is potentially that is what forms our budget. It's not the opposite, it's not, you have a budget of $30,000, how do you wanna spend it?
And I think what else Marsha is asking is, what did we ask for this year? How much can we do this year? Because right now,
So
we might
Marcia,
not be
so
able to do
so
anything
here's the
this
thing,
year.
before I was chair, before I came in, when I was new, this was all just kind of like out there, and there was an ask, please share with us so you know what you need. It was not aligned, and I saw that there were deeper issues with that, and that was just around prioritization and these one-off things and wanting to do things. So the goal of all of this, I promise you, is not just Shabri saying 3 versus 5 or 2 or 1, is to really lead to us to have this not only set in stone, but for you not to be in a place where you do not know. For you to absolutely be aware, and for you to be able to share that also with other people, because it's very simple, clear, and distinct. And so I apologize as current sitting chair that you don't have that. I didn't have it before when I stepped in, and it was, you know, it's been this current working issue. My goal in sitting here is to hopefully make these things so much simpler and easier so that whether I go get hit by a bus right now, everyone else will know exactly what that is. Do you know what I'm saying? So,
I mean, it doesn't a little bit relate to some of the smaller issues, like who's responsible for getting our agenda and our minutes on the website?
you were on the correct train of
Who
thinking.
is that, who is responsible for that?
So this is the support that we get from the Office of Equity and Human Rights.
Well, then Kenya, I mean, I don't want to put you on the spot, Kenya, but is that your job to get our minutes and our agenda and our
So these are
meetings?
conversations that, just so I let you know, these are conversations that we've had in the executive committee, and these are certainly things that we
They're
asked
not
both Kenya
happening.
and Dante.
They're not
Believe me, I
happening.
know, we brought this, believe me, I know, I brought this up multiple times. So the fact that it's not happening is something that, when we brought it up, we talked about the fact that we're not meeting public meeting laws either. So that was something that we specifically, explicitly talked about and asked for. And when Dante's here again, I think we can ask him, but there's nothing that I'm holding from you. We have asked exactly what you asked.
But I mean, we must know who's responsible for that.
Here's the thing, we aren't
Office of
not,
Equity and Human Rights is the one who holds the keys to making that occur.
and we're not disregarding it. There's one person in our office, really, it's a systemic problem. We have a system that is designed in a way that we can't just say, hey, anybody can put something on there. And it's really not an easy system to operate. So in our office, Jeff does that, but Jeff also has to put together videos and all sorts of other things. And so he's just one person. And he has to prioritize his work, I have to prioritize my work, because all my work isn't just HRC. So if you're looking for somebody to hang, you're gonna have to hang me and Jeff. But you would also then have to hang Dante and then go down and hang the mayor, because these requests are
That was
rolling
the
down.
question. I think it's
She's
just like
like,
accountability.
who's in charge? We know it has to be done, or we can, it's like we were gonna have the Facebook discussion tonight. It's like,
So what we.
why can't we post, I had a picture of the new Ethiopian police officer that I met at the African event. He's a lovely man. It's the kind of thing I would like to share with my fellow commissioners, saying, hey, here he is, he's great. Here's a picture of him. And we support the fact that the police bureau has just hired him. But I can't do that. I tried to post a picture of the new Ethiopian police recruit to our Facebook page, which we have, and there's impossible to get onto it. You can't say anything, the public can't say anything, we as commissioners can't put something on that we went to this event. We can't, why?
Right, so that was
And
also.
so if we can't, who then?
Okay,
So-
so that's it, just before you go, there was an entire,
I'm sorry, I have to.
so there's an entire section for, one of the things that I specified when we got into, we were at about 6, there are many things that have fallen off of the agenda. In particular, CPRC, I have dealt with CPRC and the issues around that all day. And so if I came in and if I was short or curt, I personally ask you to forgive me for that. These are things that we were supposed to have, we're here 15, almost 20 minutes later, and we haven't even gotten to things. And so if I could roll back some time and make some extra bubbles of time in there, I would. I can't. And so what I can do is say that was something we talked about in the executive.
Planning on the agenda.
Right.
And I think the other thing you have to understand, Marcia, is that I think it's easy to say, we should be able to post things to Facebook. It gets more difficult when we say, does that mean we should allow 15 different people to post to our Facebook page? What does it mean for the HRC to have a Facebook page?
I think anybody should post anything until it becomes a problem. And
So,
then if it's a problem.
Actually,
then
so
we
I,
put
as
it
the
back.
chair,
You
I
can't
would,
put it back on
Take
the
it
internet.
from me, honey, don't put anything on that Facebook
There
page.
you go.
Until someone in communication sees it, because I was the sacrificial lamb for HRC. I'm a very vocal activist, and I took the liberty to post what I thought about an issue, and perhaps that was not how the rest of the HRC
Well, and that's
felt
the
about
thing,
the issue.
you have your
Right, and so
personal outlet to
use-
vocalize your personal
And you can always
position.
change your page to say, Marcia, Human Rights Commissioner, Land of Human Rights, or whatever it is that you want to say. And post everything, Marcia, that you are passionate about. And if you want to tag HRC, and if HRC bumps it back and pushes you out, at least you have a record of, I attempted, I tried to be inclusive of my work with the HRC, but this is my voice. And I will say this, but I will say this. I am not a proponent of censoring people in the dissenting opinion, and that is why I don't sit as chair right now, because I have a dissenting opinion, and when it's contrary to the popular opinion, you become muted. And I do not believe in that, and I think that will deteriorate the makeup of the HRC if we continue to allow that to be a practice
I
of the
agree.
OEHR.
I think we are right
So,
now.
and I think Mike,
I have to interrupt and say that it is
Well,
not.
Kenya, you are a
a
staff member, and I'm gonna be very respectful right now.
It's
We,
not a
we
practice.
we give you every respect, but this meeting is for commissioners.
Yes.
And I think we have extended the opportunity to you to be very involved and engaged and vocal, but this is the problem. This here is the problem. Someone has given the authority to herd cats, and we are not cats, we are people. And to silence us when something comes up because it sounds like we're going down an avenue that the OEHR doesn't want to travel, your voice is heard, and we respect your voice and we respect your position as a person who works for this office. But none of us are paid workers here, with the exception of you. And this is the only space in which we have to share our opinion. Many times it's the only space that we have for the month to share our opinion, because public meeting law makes it very difficult for us to have meetings via email. So to come here and to hear you constantly stifle our conversations,
Yeah.
I respect your opinion. And I appreciate your opinion because it oftentimes gets us back on course. But I am afraid that that practice is why we are here and why things appear the way they do to the public today. They seem out of whack, and I've been here longer than you, so I would just ask you to just, from the historical perspective, when people agree, things seem to move fairly fast around here. It's when there are dissenting opinions, it's amazing how fast and things slow down. Everyone becomes quite busy with what they have on their plate. But as long as everyone's amicable and we're agreeing and we're patting each other in the back, those things get done. And I'm afraid to share with you that to continue to interject when we're having these types of conversations, it's not a reflection of Kenya, it's a reflection of OEHR. So I have to agree with everyone here. I think you've said some things that I agree with. I think Marcia has said some things that I agree with. But at the end of the day, our responsibility is to the public. And if we can't be here and be voices for the public without censorship, and you tapping Shabri on the shoulder and whispering into her ear, don't let them do this, don't let them do this.
Right.
What is the point of having a Human Rights Commission if that is going to be the practice? And you know what? People on television, they can watch that. And they can see that. And they don't show up to meetings where they don't feel their voices are heard.
So,
We don't show up to meetings when we feel like our voices are not heard.
so Sanjay, I appreciate you saying that to Kenya, and I think that the perspective that our voices need to be shared and heard at all levels is absolutely.
And it's ridiculous. This is why I'm not the
So,
chair,
so before
because
you
of
leave-
this very practice. I'm
So,
sorry.
yes, but, so before you leave, Sanjay, what I would want you to hear at least is, that one of the things that I'd also like to do is to make sure that we have a very clear, distinct understanding of how, staff and OEHR, and I'm saying staff and OEHR, not Kenya, because I believe whether it was Jeff sitting here, or Kofi sitting here, or somebody else sitting here, the way that we engage and don't engage and or disengage or aren't able to engage with the public based upon what's available or not online, is something that we need to have clarity around. And so you guys will hear me say, keep it simple, let's bring it back down, let's get it down with the
Who's
goal.
taking
But
the
let me,
minutes of
please
this
let me,
meeting tonight?
please let me finish. So Kenya takes Kenya takes.
And I'm not standing up because I'm like protesting, I'm standing up because I have to go.
Yeah, we're 40 or, 20 minutes over. So I guess what I would like to say is that specification as to what staff and how staff engage is a meeting that we're also having. Tomorrow. So please know that your leadership, at least in this current volunteer state that we are in, is working on all of these issues. Because myself as a commissioner who sat here not quite a year yet, and for you who were sitting, you know that I saw a lot of what you dealt with. I personally, Kenya and I do not agree on everything many times, most of the time. And so we have conversations that are all wrapped up in a lot of things. And I want you to know that everything that you say, every single time Mike Tabor comes in here, I mean, I'm not just taking minutes for no reason, or excuse me, notes for no reason. Kenya takes minutes for us so that we have that record. I take information so that I have it personally, so that I can instill it into the work that we're doing, which hopefully, for us, one of the things that I also shared between Audrey and I is that we're going to do as much work as we can to support in the committee work, but there's also a lot of work that needs to go into place so that any commissioner who comes in here in the future, those who are seated now, have and feel not only that they have information that they need, such as budget, but also have a space and the capacity to do good work that gets done that we can be proud of. And so know that your voice is heard. Know that just because I'm not saying exactly what you're saying doesn't mean I'm not feeling what you're feeling. I say a lot of this stuff to Kenya. If you were in our executive committee meetings, every single thing that you brought up has been said, and I've asked the specific question, why is this not done? And that there are so many things that I and we as volunteers can do, and there are so many things that the OEHR needs to do. So your voice and what you said is something that I've shared directly with Kenya as well. So I appreciate, and that's why I told Kenya I did want to make sure that you had a chance to finish saying what you're saying. I don't think we need to continue to harp on this because we're already 25 minutes past. But I do want you guys to know as commissioners and those who are watching, that's what I've charged us with, is getting us through all of this so that the work that we're doing we can be proud of. So thank you guys all for taking a lot of time, a lot of extra time, and we'll see you back again in August. And this meeting is adjourned, 25 minutes late.